It's a beautiful night in Boston and a beautiful night for baseball. Game 2 of the 3-game series between the Texas Rangers and the Boston Red Sox. Hi again, everybody. I'm Don Orsillo, and welcome to Red Sox baseball. Well, the Red Sox exploded last night for 17 runs, hit tons of runs, tons of hits, and the offense was clicking at all cylinders. Several Red Sox players had big nights. Daniel Nava had his second 3-hit game of the season, scored a season-high 4 runs out of the leadoff spot. Mike Karp equaled his season high with 3 hits and also knocked in 3 runs. Jared Saltalamacchia had his first homer from the right side of the plate last night against his former team and is now hitting .329 at home this season. And Stephen Drew, all he did was collect 3 extra base hits, including his 5th home run of the season. It was quite an attack last night as we welcome in Hall of Famer Dennis Eckersley. And Eck, right now, Daniel Nava has been leading off for the Red Sox. He had a chance to play, and he's making good.
Talk about an incredible story. We all know about it, where he came from. And this year, he's gone beyond expectations. Here's a guy who hit .243 coming in this year, lifetime. Only played 88 games. Well, you see what he's done this year. Incredible. Done everything they want him to do. Play right field, play left field. Good defense. His on base, you see his OPS is .905. He's got 38 RBIs. You hate to project at this point in the season because you know somebody can get hurt. But if you project his numbers out, he's going to hit over 20 home runs and drive in 100 runs. That's an incredible season for him. And once again, the story, the beat goes on with Daniel Nava. The story goes on. We'll find out.
Well, tonight the Red Sox hope to do what they did last night. It was a special night here at Fenway Park and a milestone for Jackie Bradley Jr. gets his first Major League home run. The Red Sox and Rangers from Fenway. We're back with more right after this. Digital Federal Credit Union, bank the DCU way. Your New England Kia dealers. Toyota's official site for deals by Toyota.com. And by Southwest Airlines. Well, beautiful night tonight in Boston as the Red Sox welcome the Texas Rangers for Game 2 of this 3-game series. Big win here last night for the Red Sox, and the Red Sox and Rangers ready to go here tonight, and blue skies above Fenway Park. Very comfortable conditions here tonight as the lights are already on, and it'll be John Lackey on the hill tonight for Boston, matched up against Alexia Gondo as the Red Sox get ready to take the field here tonight. And that it has been a pretty good year for John Lackey, trying to bounce back this season in a Red Sox uniform.
You know, it really has, and he's pitched really well at home. Not that he hasn't pitched all that bad on the road, but you know, you see his record, what, 3-5, doesn't look that good, but the ERA is right there. And we've been watching close. Everybody has. The velocity's been there, location with his fastball, and he's got a good curveball. He's always had a good curveball. He'll throw it any time. And I just think it's a good feeling about John Lackey. You know, once again, you don't know, you don't want to project with anybody. Guy had been hurt like that. But if he continues to pitch like that, this rotation, like we talked about, is as good as anybody in the American League East.
Well, send it down to Jenny Dell.
Well, Don, to celebrate the end of the school year coming, June is Calling All Kids Month, presented by Hood here at Fenway Park. And as you can see on this June edition of Red Sox Magazine, it is Ryan Dempster and his little son, Brady. And for all the kids out there, if you finish off this year with an A and B's on your report card, all A's and B's, you can come and bring your report card to Fenway Park, and you are granted free admission with a paying adult. Pretty exciting stuff here, and as we'll see in our pregame ceremony coming up, kids will be joining all Red Sox players on the field for this pregame ceremony before each home game this month.
All right, Jane, thanks very much. Well, tonight it is the Savin Hill Little League who will be joining Red Sox players on the field for our national anthem.
Savin Hill Little League. Here to perform our national anthem is a group of talented young students. Please welcome, from the Williams Middle School in Longmeadow, Massachusetts, Ensemble 745.
Stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the
Well, nice job by the ensemble from Longmeadow, Massachusetts. We're ready for baseball. Red Sox and Rangers are coming your way next from Fenway. And the Rangers, Red Sox have taken the field, so check out the Rangers batting order. It's brought to you by Jordan's Furniture on this Calling All Kids night from Fenway.
Thanks, Mr. Orsillo. Hi, I'm Silas from Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Leading off for the Rangers, at shortstop, Elvis Andrus. The left fielder, David Murphy. The DH, Lance Berkman. At third base, Adrian Beltre. The right right fielder, Nelson Cruz. The catcher, A.J. Przinsky. At first base, Mitch Moreland. The second baseman, Jernixon Profar. And batting ninth, the center fielder, Leonis Martin.
Nice job, Silas, as Elvis Andrus about ready to lead it off here for the Texas Rangers. Andrus, the shortstop for the Rangers, stands in, and ready to work is John Lackey. His first pitch of the night is going to miss inside for ball one, and we are underway. Horizon Fios brings you the season numbers for John Lackey. 9th start, 3-5. Opponents hitting at .229 against Lackey. Wanted that pitch, and he is all of a sudden down here 2-0, trying to figure out where it was. He points down low. He thought he had it. And I know you got to have it.
Yeah, but it's early. We got to calm down. There it is. You know, I'll tell you what, you look at Lackey, everybody's got to be thrilled with Lackey. We know he's coming off Tommy John surgery, but this is his 9th start. He's really only had one bad start. You know, last time out he gave up the 3 solos, but before that, really just one bad outing. A game in Tampa where remember the pop-up that dropped in front of Napoli? But that's been about it. Strikeouts are there. The control is there. You know, this is as good as we've ever seen him.
On the ground is second baseman Dustin Pedroia for the first out of the ball game. Let's check out the Red Sox defense. Is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Jose Iglesias at third with Stephen Drew at short. Dustin Pedroia at second base. Mike Napoli at first. Left to right across the outfield. Mike Karp, Jackie Bradley Jr., and Daniel Nava. The battery tonight is Saltalamacchia catching Lackey. Umpiring crew, Rob Drake has got the play calling balls and strikes. Crew chief Joe West at first. Sam Holbrook at second, and Andy Fletcher is the umpire at third. The first pitch strike into David Murphy. And that is strike 2.
That's a real good sign right there. Start of the night, dots the outside corner twice.
He's got 93 on the fastball so far in this game. There's a swing and a foul off to the left. That time 94. His velocity has been better.
I'm telling you, you get locked into that arm side they talk about.
Yes.
You paint the outside corner to a left-hander. You do it all night long, and that's what John Lackey's all about. Not just him, everybody. You know, fastball command. Bam.
On the outside corner for strike 3. First strikeout of the night for Lackey. As Murphy says some things to Rob Drake on the way by. 2 down.
That's what happens. You dot the outside corner enough, they're going to give you the outside corner. This ball's a little hair outside, but you've got to swing at that. He painted 4 times.
And Murphy takes with him the first strikeout of the night for John Lackey. 2 down. And here is Lance Berkman. 279 on the year. Berkman has cooled off at the plate for the Rangers as he takes ball 1. And a bunt base hit in last night's game. It was 1 for 4 in the first game of the series.
And you see tonight Stephen Drew playing the third base. Last night there was nobody on the left side of the infield when he bunted. And you know, you can't do that. I mean, and he took advantage of it last night.
He's 1 hit in his last 12 at bats, and his 5 for his last 27. But ahead here, 3-0.
See Lackey looking in a little bit. Everything he's thrown has been a strike.
That's a strike right down the pike, and it is now 3-1.
You know, you don't want to get carried away with Lackey, but he just seems so smooth, doesn't he?
Yes.
Nice and clean, his delivery.
That's a strike, as Berkman was headed towards first base, but he gets that outside corner again.
That's beautiful.
Berkman now, Adrian Beltre, who had last night off, waits on deck. There are 2 outs here for the Rangers in the first inning. And a grounder foul.
It's nice when you don't have to feature anything other than fastball. You saw maybe a cutter right there. You hang on to that little hook for the second time around, third time around. I'm telling you, it makes the game a little easier.
On the ground to shift on. It is Iglesias on the right side of the infield who throws out Berkman. Lackey has a 1-2-3 first. The Red Sox are coming up. England Chevy dealers, it's junior announcer night.
Thanks, Mr. Orsillo. Hi, I'm Christian from Dartmouth, Massachusetts, leading off for the Red Sox. The right fielder, Daniel Nava. In left field, Mike Carp. Second baseman, Dustin Pedroia. The DH, David Ortiz. At first base, Mike Napoli. The catcher, Jared Sotomayor. The shortstop, Stephen Drill. At third base, Jose Iglesias. In batting ninth, the center fielder, Jackie Bradley Jr.
Nice job as Alexia Gondo is on the mound tonight for the Rangers. This number is brought to you by New England Nissan dealers. As Nava takes a pitch down and in and is ahead 2-0. Alexia Gondo's 10th start. He's fresh off the DL, 4-2. This guy has been in and out of the rotation over the years for the Rangers, working out of the bullpen and as a starter.
I mean, that's something that's really difficult to do, and he's made a nice transition back and forth. You see, a couple years ago, all-star pitcher, won 13 games. They put him in the bullpen, did the same thing pretty much what he did previous to that, which was be nasty in the bullpen. You know, in the bullpen, he gets it up to 96, 97, but he can't do that as a starter. Been told before he got hurt, was it a tricep, bicep, tendonitis, whatever it was, he was having trouble controlling his fastball, and we've seen this early on, the first batter.
Yeah, biceps tendonitis is what they called it. As he went on the DL May 16th after his last start. It was his second stint on the DL over the last year, as this one is fouled off to the left out of play.
He's basically a two-pitch pitcher, fastball, slider. Like I said, his fastball, when he's in the bullpen, he can bring it out of the bullpen. But we see maybe 92, 93, but he fall in love with that slider.
The 3-2 pitch is a one-hopper that explodes on Andrus, but he gets it and fires it to first for the out. The retired Daniel Nava. Let's take a look at this Rangers defense. Third to first, old friend Adrian Beltre and his 4 Gold Gloves at third base. Elvis Andrus at shortstop. Erickson Profire at second base. Mitch Moreland at first. Left to right across the outfield. Former first-round draft choice for the Red Sox, David Murphy in left. Leonis Martin in center and Nelson Cruz in right. And A.J. Pierzynski doing the catching tonight for Alexia Gondo. Fielding percentage, the Rangers are 7th in the American League as Mike Karp takes strike one.
See 95 right there. He's letting it go pretty good in the first inning here.
As a starter in 39 career starts, he is 17-10. A 3.40 earned run average.
Well, they had a combination out there in the bullpen that they could do some damage. I mean, last year they had Adams, right? The guy that went to Philadelphia.
Mike Adams.
Mike Adams and Agundo, and you know, Nathan last year had a nice year for them. They had a lockdown bullpen.
Karp with a swing and a miss, got away from Pierzynski briefly, so he's got to fire down to first to complete the strikeout. 2 down in the inning as we check back in with Jenny Dell.
Well, Don, let's talk some numbers from last night. 19 was a season high in hits, 17 a season high in runs, 13 extra base hits last night. So with that, we're going to take a look at our Geico quote of the day, and it comes from Ryan Dempster, and he reflects on the offense performance of the team. He said, "I like my chances when we get 17 runs. It was just fun to watch the guys swing the bat as well as they did. When you have breathing room like that, it's nice because you fill up the zone a little bit more quick and try and get some quick outs." Don?
Well, that's got to be a little more comfortable when you have that kind of run support, something that he has not had a lot of this season.
No, he goes from a game with Cliff Lee to a 2-1 game to a 17-run game. That's a beautiful thing. You need a W bad.
This one is popped up foul back and out of play.
You gladly give up a couple of home runs just to get a W. You saw last night the third baseman Baker took him deep around the pesky pole. Wasn't that? You don't see that very often.
No.
And the ball was flying last night. I think Moreland got him later on in the game. Was it Moreland? No, or Cruz got him. Moreland got Mortensen. Whatever. There were so many runs scored last night. I don't know who hit who. Right?
Ball especially to the right, it was flying last night.
Yes, it was.
Well, Pedroia checks in, hitting at .330 on the year, 3 homers and 30 runs batted in. He'll swing and send one to right field, sending Nelson Cruz back. Still going. He'll get there to make the catch that ends the inning. Both starters have 1, 2, 3 firsts. We're headed to the second. No score. Our intern gets a crash course in production. Now we're scoreless as we head to the second inning back at Fenway Park. We welcome those of you who are looking for NESN's pregame coverage of tonight's Bruins-Penguins game at TD Garden. You can find that coverage on NESN Plus as well as postgame once the game ends. Here are your channel destinations for NESN Plus. Best of luck to the Bruins tonight in Game 3 of their series on home ice tonight. Leading it off here for the Rangers, Adrian Beltre will be followed by Nelson Cruz and A.J. Pierzynski. This is out to center field. Struck well. Jackie Bradley Jr. moves over, and he'll get there. Beltre didn't get enough of it, or as much as I thought he might have. He was out number 1 of the inning.
Didn't have to see him last night. He wasn't in the lineup. I'll tell you, that's their most valuable player. They miss him, they're in trouble. What a great player he is.
We got to watch him on a daily basis for a year and really did not appreciate how good a player he was until he was here in Boston. As Cruz with a big swing and a miss. Beltre, of course, doing his work with the Seattle Mariners for the most part in the American League prior to coming to Boston, and we saw him, every now and again, but he was terrific that season.
It was an absolute pleasure to watch him play baseball. I never knew how good of a player he was. And I'll tell you, start looking at the numbers. This guy plays a couple more years. He's a Hall of Famer. You add to the, the Golden Gloves that he has. He's the whole package. You talk about what a teammate. This guy is a leader. And I don't know. They could say so many nice things about this guy, but he was sort of hidden in Seattle.
Offensively and defensively, I had no idea how good a player he was. And continues to be with the Texas Rangers, big part of their team. Back in there tonight as 1-2 pitch is a swing and a miss. Ties up Cruz inside, strikes him out on a 94-mile-an-hour fastball. Second strikeout for John Lackey.
I don't know if he was trying to throw that ball upstairs. Maybe he was trying to, I don't know, but he had some hair on this ball. This ball jumps in there. No chance by Nelson Cruz. You see Salty sitting away, but he just aired it out.
So 2 down, 5 in a row. Retired by John Lackey to begin the night. And here's A.J. Pierzynski. Even 300 average coming in. 4 homers and 15 runs batted in.
Sixth batter of the game. All you've seen is fastball and a couple occasional cutters.
How typical is that until you break out your other stuff? Second time through?
I don't know. You feel pretty good. He was spotting the outside corner of the first inning with his fastball to see the velocity, but then all of a sudden you get a little carried away. See him jumping on a couple of these fastballs. You're throwing the ball pretty hot when you do. And sometimes you have to calm down. Go back to spotting it. Don't think you're Gas Masterson. You know what I mean? You get carried away. You feel good. When you're clean, sometimes you get on that mound, your arm feels so clean, man. And I used to get carried away, I think I could throw it by somebody. Wait a minute.
Then all of a sudden someone takes you upper deckersly.
Yeah. There's no upper deck here, man.
2-1 pitch. Is fouled off to the left out of play, and it's 2-2.
But that's good velocity we've seen from him, and he knows it.
He's been 93, 94 so far, and to me that's been the biggest difference for him from any time we saw him previously in a Red Sox uniform. That is the velocity that he has coming off the Tommy John surgery. This one is fouled off. Protective swing by Pierzynski.
A little backdoor cutter right there. We got all excited about Lackey because his first start was in Toronto, wasn't it? And he's punching everybody out.
Yes.
It was like, what is going on?
And he walked off the mound.
Then he walks off the mound.
Yeah.
So it kind of scares you. You won't get. You want to get carried away, but he looks good.
Fortunately, it was just a biceps injury at the time. And there's a ground ball right side. Napoli to the backhand. Lackey will cover for the out that ends the inning. Inning and a half done from the Fens. Big Papi will be leading off when we come back. Xfinity on July 27th when the Portland Sea Dogs take on the Harrisburg Senators. This family-friendly event also features Dog Day at Fenway and a performance by Kids Bop Kids, Billboard's #1 kids artist of the year. Tickets start at $5 and can be purchased at redsox.com/futures or by calling 877-RED SOX 9. Now, Gate B here at Fenway Park off Ipswich Sweet and Van Ness Street. Scoreless as we head to the bottom of the second inning. David Ortiz, Mike Napoli, and Jared Saltalamacchia. Ortiz taking a hack at the first pitch, sends one foul off to the left out of play.
Boy, we've seen a lot of fastballs early on today from both pitchers. You know, Agundo can get it up there. Here's a kid that they pulled out of the Oakland A's organization, couldn't hit, was an infielder, right?
Yes.
Comes over here, they find this diamond, and you think about it, guy throws this hard. He's got a lot of bullets left.
Ortiz jolts this to center field. Martin is there, and he'll make the catch in front of the warning track for the first out of the second inning. 4 in a row retired by Agundo. And we'll bring up Mike Napoli, of course, former Texas Ranger. Napoli at .272, 9 homers and 46 runs batted in. You know, when the Red Sox got Mike Napoli, you figured he was going to be in the catching mix here with the Red Sox just because he did so much catching for the Rangers and Angels in his career, and it has not been a consideration to the point where John Farrell has talked about if the Red Sox need an emergency catcher, most likely it would be Gomes before Napoli. So,
well, I tell you the honest truth, I wouldn't put him back there. I mean, nobody thinks anything of it. You can't get down in your haunches like that for 9 innings. I mean, you don't want something to blow out. Obviously, his hip is the problem.
Has not had a flare-up of any kind since finding.
Yeah, so don't mess with it. And he's played a nice first base defensively for the most part.
It's his numbers in 221 games as a member of the Rangers. He'll take strike 2. Napoli will foul it off to the right out of play. Sits safely in 14 of his last 17 games.
He gets into a lot of counts, a lot of deep counts. You know, everybody knows about the strikeouts. He knows about the strikeouts. But he makes the most out of every at bat. He airs it out. He's got power all the way around. You saw the grand slam in Yankee Stadium.
He did so much damage against Red Sox pitching over the years. You wondered him coming here to Fenway Park would probably a pretty good fit based on what we've seen him do here in the past.
I thought he was a pull hitter. I really did. I thought he was just a dead pull hitter. I thought he'd be perfect for Fenway. But what we've seen this year, he drives the ball the other way. Once again, he gets the count full.
Tonight marks his 50th career game here at Fenway Park. 11 home runs, 38 RBIs in those 49 now plus games. Saltalamacchia waiting on deck. And there's ball 4. Napoli draws a walk. First base runner for either side. Well, it's time out for Coors Light, who brings us tonight's cold hard facts. The Red Sox in their 13 extra base hits last night were the most by a team since July 29th of 1990. They're also the most extra base hits for the Red Sox here at Fenway Park, since 1950. It was an incredible night here last night at Fenway.
This is a doubles ballpark, as everyone knows. The Red Sox normally lead the world in doubles every year.
One out, one on, and Saltalamacchia the batter. And there's strike 1 to Saltalamacchia. Jared hitting at .268 heading into tonight's action. Sits safely in his last 4 straight games. Swinging a foul tip, and it's 0-2.
A lot of guys with confidence going to the plate. Not necessarily just because of last night. You know, Salty, this is as good as Salty has ever swung the bat since he's been a Red Sox. The home runs have always been there, but, you know, the average was down. He punching out a lot. But he's making the most of his at-bats most recently.
It's jammed here and fouls it back. Still 0-2. Saltalamacchia last year with 25 home runs. No 2 is on the ground. Profar will scoop in, go to second for 1, on to first for 2. Saltalamacchia grounds into the 4-6-3 double play. John Lackey be coming out for the third. For the third inning, without a score, the Rangers and Red Sox, as it'll be the bottom third of the Rangers order expected in the inning. Nice night to be on the monster seats. Mitch Moreland leading it off, then Yerkson, Profar, and Leonis Martin expected in the inning. There's strike 1 to Mitch Moreland. As Lackey's been throwing strikes tonight. He has thrown 29 pitches and 21 for strikes so far. 72% so far. His 30th pitch, a bunt bid, and it's down the third baseline. It'll kick foul right off the inseam of the grass. Otherwise, that was going to be trouble. It goes foul, fortunately, and Moreland will have to come on back.
Not such a bad idea with nobody out. Luckily, it hits the dirt and goes left. There's Moreland with 12 home runs, and he's bunting.
And Moreland's been their everyday first baseman for the Rangers. 12 homers, 29 runs batted in.
You see, early on, Lackey's throwing the ball pretty good. Velocity-wise, had a tough time getting the ball in. That's the pitch that you have to left-handers. You've got to get the ball in. He wants that fastball in again. There.
Didn't get the call, and it's 1-2.
I got to have that.
You're feeling it from up here.
Oh, come on. This is a strike, is it not? Bang. Dotted it. Yes.
See ya.
Oh, my goodness. You don't get rewarded. He made the pitch. He made the exact pitch that he has to make tonight. And he made it, and he shook off to get it, and he makes the pitch.
And he got no
here
credit.
we are. No credit. 0.
1-2. This will bounce in. Now it's 2-2. Messes everything up now, right?
Doesn't it? You're supposed to be cool out there because it's early. You know, you can't get upset. I'm amazed how so many pitchers are so under control.
This is fouled off to the left, out of play.
You see him moving it around, man, in, out. And he hasn't really gone to his curve. He saw one curveball in this at bat. Because he's got a good curveball. He'll throw it behind in the count when he's at his best.
Going back in there again.
Yeah, get it in there.
Wow. This one a little bit off the edge and inside as a couple of close pitches, full count.
Why even go in there for a strike? You might as well just fire it in there for a ball because he's not going to call it anyway. Here we go again.
This one out over the plate more, mislocation, and it's fouled off to the left. He's had to throw 4 extra pitches since he thought he had strike 3.
Got him punched out twice. You know, I'm not trying to throw a ball sometimes 0-2, right? I'm not wasting.
Right.
I'm going at it. Let's go.
Let's party.
Let's party.
3-2 is fouled back, and we'll do it again. More pitches.
Yes. He's upset. You know what I mean? It's more pitches. You see a cutter he throws right there? He's locked in. I know what he feels like. I'm telling you.
Ground ball chopped down the first baseline, foul.
Somebody put the ball in play. We don't need these big counts.
Pitch 4, they call the ball. He's now up to his 11th pitch in this sequence. And again, the 3-2 to Mitch Moreland. Fly ball to left field, hit well. Carp going back, looking up, and it's going to be high off the wall. Carp plays the carom. He'll fire into second base, but sliding in with a double is Moreland. Ends up being a heck of an at bat for him, and he has a double in the first hit for the Rangers of the night. And Lackey's going to talk about some of those pitches.
Yeah, I guess you got to give Moreland credit. I mean, he did what he had to do. I mean, umpire didn't call him out. Works the count to 3-2, and he has to center this ball because the corners don't get you anything. And Moreland has got some pop the other way, especially here in Fenway. This ball's off the wall easily for a double. You see, it takes too long for Carp to get it into second, but you see Lackey go straight into the umpire. I don't know what he said, but I couldn't help myself either. I just got to say, you know, I've got to have one of those. Cost him 10 pitches and a double off the wall. I don't blame him. You know, there's begging and there's begging, but yeah, I'll tell you what, I got to have it.
Erickson Profar, the batter, and he takes strike 1. Does it help or hurt to talk to an umpire like that? Do you think he is?
Well, you got to let him know.
Right.
Guess what? I'm not real happy about that. But in other words, you know, you missed it. And if it, you know, if he never said anything, you'd think that you didn't think it was a strike. I want to make sure he knows that I thought it was a strike, unless my catcher didn't say something.
And this is down the first base line. Napoli's got it. He'll take it to the bag for the out as Moreland moves along to third base. First out of the inning. Well, more times than not, you get a good result from the umpire after talking to him, at least about where you thought that was a strike, or does it go the other way for you?
You really have to be careful.
You don't want to upset him.
No, because that wasn't really a good time, do you think? I mean, here's a double off the wall, and you sort of meet him down the third base line.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, in your experience.
How's that?
In your experience.
By saying something probably didn't help.
Yeah.
You know, because they're only human. They don't like that unless they They realize they made a mistake. They understand.
This is back to the mound. Lackey will look the runner back at third, and he throws out Martin. 2 down.
Big pitch by Lackey. I told you got to get the ball into a left-hander. He makes a big pitch. This is a money pitch right here. Fastball eats up Martin. Just a routine ground ball back to the mound. Sweet, but you got to get the last out to finish it off.
So 2 down here in the inning. Moreland 90 feet away, and here is Elvis Andrus. Andrus grounding out to second base. His first at bat as Lackey goes second time through here against the Rangers. Saw a lot of fastballs and cutters first time through. Zips the fastball outside for ball 1. Andrus with just 1 hit in his last 17 at bats. Seen that average drop down to 257, the lowest it has been since May the 11th. Swing and a miss, and it's a ball and a strike.
You know, you face so many left-handed hitters, you find that zone outside corner to left-hander. Right-hander gets up there. Now you've got to finish that fastball to get it on the outside corner.
Foul off to the right, 1-2. Andrus appeared upset with himself. Took a hack at that fastball.
Got away with that fastball up, swung at a ball. Now he could finish him off.
This one fouled off to the right, out of play. Advil is the official pain reliever of the Boston Red Sox and proud supporter of Volunteers. Go to Advil.com to find out about the Advil Relief in Action campaign. 2 down in the inning. Mitch Moreland at third base as the Rangers threaten here in the top of the 3rd inning. Lackey's had to work hard in this inning, and it evens up here at 2-2.
Throwing 4 fastballs with some giddy up on those 2 high fastballs. You can put them away with that break ball. You spit on it. Just not tempting enough. Yes. Yep. Paint him right here.
It's a fly ball to shallow right. Pedroia is going out. Nava's coming in. Nava calls off Pedroia and makes the catch. The Rangers threaten but do not score. 2.5 done. No score from Fenway. talking for John Lackey, as it turned out, a couple pitches he should have had.
Yeah, he made some pitches to get out of it, to be honest with you. But he had Moreland punched out perfectly on this fourth pitch of this at bat. Bang, I got to have that, and I know he wanted it. He didn't react to it at the time. This ball may be a little more inside, but still, after missing the first one, costs him a double off the wall. This is a lead-off double. This could be the game. You know, he couldn't get out of the way of the umpire. If you think about it, he was just in the vicinity, so you can't help but say something. I mean, he wasn't demonstrative about it, right? He didn't show him up.
Could have been frustrated, and certainly ended up doing a great job to get out of that inning. Stephen Drew leads it off here in the bottom of the third inning, and he'll take a look at a strike. Saltalamacchia also talking to Rob Drake at the end of the inning.
Yeah, and this is what you need. You know, you need your catcher to do the talking. You really do. And I'm sure he said something, but Lackey got his chance later on after the double. But luckily he pitched well to get out of that inning. Made a big pitch to Martin back to the mound. But Salt, you got to take care of me, brother. You got to tell him we need to have this. And he knows it. But Lackey, John Lackey has got it going on tonight. Good velocity. Haven't seen a lot of breaking balls, which is a good thing. He's got it saved up for them the next few innings.
Drew lines this to left center field. Murphy trying to cut it off. He does. Drew is thinking too, but Murphy's throw is going to be close, and Drew will be out at second base. He thought he eluded the tag. Now he's definitely out as he popped up off the base, but already called out by Sam Holbrook. And this will bring John Farrell out. And look as if he eluded the tag with his arm.
Yeah, I don't know. This looks beyond, by the eye, he looks safe. This tag has got to be a miracle tag for Profar to get this ball and take it all the way back on the other side of the bag with a headlong dive. He gets the corner. You see him coming in here on the inside part of the bag. His right hand gets in. There's no way. And Drew knows it. I mean, he's the one that knows it. He may have been blocked out, but that right hand gets there before the tag.
Yes,
right
it does.
There.
Wow.
I mean, I know it's a close play, but he's safe. Listen, once again, a leadoff double. This is a big out.
So thrown out 7-4 at second base. Sam Holbrook misses that one. John Farrell back to the dugout as Drew gets credit for a single. Thrown out 7-4. First hit of the game for the Red Sox, but no base runner. There's Jose Iglesias now takes a pitch up and in.
Stephen Drew, what, 4 for 4 last night? Starts off with a bullet into the hole. And I thought that was what he should have done. It pushed the envelope there, try to get 2. Should have had it.
This is sent out to center field. Martin moves over and makes the catch for the second out of the inning. So Iglesias retired. That'll take us to Jackie Bradley Jr. Bats for the first time tonight. .167 average so far in the big leagues. Last night got his first home run. Hit that off last night's starter Justin Grimm. As he takes strike one from Magondo. Started now the last 5 games in center field in the absence of Jacoby Ellsbury. There's some thought that we may see Ellsbury tonight, but John Farrell said before the game he is unavailable again tonight. Sort of wonder where we are in this whole process, whether or not it means a DL or not. But first the Red Sox thought it would be just a day-to-day thing, but it has now been 5 straight games that he has not played in.
Yeah, surprising. Every time you come to the ballpark, you're saying, is Ellsbury in the lineup, right? That's the first thing you go. And then he was not. They're just trying to be safe, but this is getting a little prolonged. And he was talking before in the press conference about him having to be 80% to go forward. That means he's not 80%.
Right. 1-2 pitches to left. Murphy will get it, and that'll end the inning. The liner to left wraps up the third. We head for the fourth. No score from Fenway. Eastern Bank, you put your family first, job first, even your team first. Isn't it time someone put you first? Eastern Bank does just that. With products like Eastern Free Checking, here you're first. Eastern Bank. We welcome you back to Fenway Park as we head to the top half of the fourth inning. And leading it off for the Texas Rangers is David Murphy with Sue Berkman, then Beltre. 2, 3, and 4 for the Rangers. Well, Elvis and Ness are very happy to be part of a new partnership with Fox Connecticut, and it's great to have with us Rich Coppola. Great to see you, Rich.
Kind of good to see you, always.
You have been there since 1989. You've seen a lot of things come through Connecticut over the years.
Yeah, I was 12 when we started back in 89.
Had to be a great first job for you.
That's right. Yeah, we have seen a lot, and obviously the Red Sox are such a big part. The Red Sox fans in Connecticut, as well as the Yankees fans in Connecticut, are as passionate as the Red Sox fans in Boston or the Yankees fans in New York. And that's the unique part, I think, of the New England states. It is such a split state, but the passion is tremendous for both.
Could you tell whether or not where the line is in Connecticut, one way or the other, for Yankees, Red Sox? Is there a definitive line somewhere over there?
Different people have different theories about it, but there's Red Sox fans in Fairfield County. There are Yankees fans in Hartford County. So it's not only that. There are families divided, friendships divided. I mean, it's a lot of fun.
How about for you, though? That's got to be tiptoeing both sides of that?
Well, you certainly listen. If you look like you're showing a little bit more favoritism to one than the other, you're going to hear about it. But it's a lot of fun. It really is. You guys obviously have a lot of fun. This is a great vantage point as well. And one of the things I wanted to ask to you, Eck, when you see a guy, is this a time where now Lackey has to think about changing his pitching pattern through a lot of fastballs the first 3 innings?
Yeah, you're right on it. That's what we've been chirping about.
Yeah.
I mean, even you could get a chance to save your secondary pitches for the second and third times around. It just looks like in favor of the pitcher. Nicely done.
But do they think sometimes, okay, now they think, since I threw a lot of fastballs, now I'm going to throw my secondary stuff and then throw fastballs because of that? Does it become a guessing game like that?
Oh, totally. Sometimes you get carried away. Like I told you earlier, you think you're throwing so hard that you think you're a power pitcher,
Right.
and the catcher's got to obviously take control. But he looks good tonight.
David Murphy fouls it off, still 3-2. Vision with Rich Coppola from Fox Connecticut. And Rich, you have a little bit of a tie with our director, Mike Naracci, I understand.
Mike's dad was my gym teacher in high school. A little bit of my connection to Nesson as well. I do color for Quinnipiac hockey, which has been on Nesson for a long time. So this year, the Frozen Four had Quinnipiac and Yale, which is a lot of fun.
Well, of course, UConn is a big deal for everyone there. I mean, that's like having your own pro team, really, there for all intents and purposes.
It really is. And really, the football, the men's and women's basketball, especially with the Whalers being the one major league team we had leaving. The Connecticut Sun, the WNBA, that's the top of theirs. But yeah, UConn has to be covered as our major league teams. There's no question.
And the AHL has been there for years, too, since the Whale did leave town, and they are still there, yes?
They are, and they've changed back to their original name, which is the Hartford Wolfpack. For a couple of years, they were rebranded as the Connecticut Whale, but back to the Wolfpack as well.
And basketball is such a huge thing, don't you? I mean, you don't want to pick one sport in particular. I know the football program got better, but basketball, women's basketball has been through the roof. I mean, they're unbeatable.
It's amazing what Gino Auriemma has done there. Has been off the charts. It's year in and year out, and they just reload. They really had a tremendous run. So it's been a lot of fun to be around. We borrowed Jim Calhoun from Boston for a while, and they obviously put UConn on the map. He did a fabulous job, as Gino is doing now, and the football team, they've done a pretty good job in making bowls and stuff, and now it's about time where they need to make the next step forward, I think.
And the football has also taken off in the last few years for UConn as well.
Yeah, and as I said, they've started to they've made some bowl appearances, pretty good. They just are at a point now, I think, where they have to take the next step forward, and the whole thing with the conference realignment and all that stuff, and that's been a little bit difficult, and I'm sad to see that happen. Certainly, the breakup of the Big East has been disappointing to people who followed it.
Lackey falling behind here, 3-1. I saw you moving over there, Eck. Did you see more strike calls that should have been called in that sequence that we missed?
No, we're just looking for outs. We're looking for quick outs. But once again, he's just pounding a lot of fastballs.
Does that say to you, Dennis, that for a guy who had arm problems, his arm is feeling really good?
No doubt. You look at the how fluid his delivery is. And it's body language. You watch a guy's body language, it tells you everything. How he struts around a little bit, like he's got it.
He threw a pitch last inning that he thought should have been the third strike. Now he's got to throw an extra 6, 7, 8 pitches. Is that tough for a young pitcher when that happens, to control yourself and not get too frustrated?
It's tough for an old pitcher. Especially when you're old, you only got so many bullets in there.
That's right.
He had a little conference with him down the line. After the double, he sort of passed him by down the third base line. And they said something, and you saw Salty say something at the end of the inning, and you saw them a little conference in the dugout, Lackey and Salty. So everybody's on the same page, only because he got out of that inning.
I read his lips. I thought he said Eck is in the booth.
Yes.
Berkman doesn't like this, as it is a called third strike, and that is the third strikeout for Lackey, who gets the benefit of this, and Berkman not liking it at all.
Well, he hadn't been getting the inside corner with the fastball, so you see Drake, this ball is going to be outside, running away just a little outside, but
took a good long look.
Yeah, a little makeup piece. Sit down.
Rich, what is the greatest event, not to put you on the spot, that you have covered, you think, in your long career?
Well,
Connecticut.
I think, when it's a first, like the first men's national championship at UConn was great. The first women's was a lot of fun to do. I covered the play in 04. I was at in the ALCS. I was at every game but one, but game 3. So I've done some World Series, and I can even go back further. I covered Rendezvous 87. In 1987, the NHL played 2 All-Star games against the Russians in Quebec City, and that was a lot of fun. I've done a couple of baseball All-Star games. Baseball and hockey, I think anyone who's watched certainly can figure out are my 2 passions. But baseball was my first love, and I remember this guy. I tell a story. I've told Louis Tiant, my first ever game, I saw Tiant pitching for Cleveland, 1965.
Oh.
So I wasn't 12, really, back in 89.
When you played, what did you play?
I was a first baseman for a long time.
Did you hit?
I could hit until they started, the wrinkle and threw too hard. I had a tough time catching up.
Same here. Same here. Thank God I could throw.
As a hitter, I became a good first baseman.
Beltre gets into this and sends it a long way to center field. Jackie Bradley Jr. will turn and watch it leave. Adrian Beltre to dead center field, gets his 12th home run of the year, and gets the Rangers on the board 1-0.
Well, how good is he at?
We just got done talking about him. Talk about Lackey throwing a bunch of fastballs all night long. Well, that was a slider. You can see the spin on that ball up.
He didn't do a lot, did he?
He almost back-legged, and we've seen that so much in the past with Beltre. Dead center field. That ball's gone as soon as you hear the sound. The hanger, that's what happens to hangers.
Yeah. What amazes me with him sometimes is that he goes down to one knee and still hits the ball 400 feet.
And it's usually on a breaking ball. It's like he's adjusting halfway through the pitch coming to the plate. But we talked before, without Beltre, this team, that's their MVP. And this guy is the class of the league at third base. And you got Cabrera's over there, Longoria.
This is driven by Nelson Cruz towards the triangle in right center field, and this is going to get down. Back by the 420 marker, Cruz is headed to second base, and he's got himself a double. A couple of very hard hit balls here after there were 2 outs in the 4th inning off John Lackey.
A little slider, there's a slider up to Beltre, and then a fastball to Nelson Cruz. Second time around, they can judge the velocity, and this guy could go yard, any part of the yard. Power that Nelson Cruz has. Luckily, he hits it in the corner over there, because that ball's gone if he just slices it at all.
So 2 down in the inning. Cruz at second base, and this will bring up A.J. Pierzynski, as the Rangers have taken a 1-0 lead here in the top half of the 4th inning.
Covered AJ in New Britain. Played for the New Britain Red Sox a number of years ago. David Ortiz, obviously.
Yes, as they were the Red Sox affiliate for a long time, too, in New Britain before they became the Twins affiliate. A lot of the Twins coming through there over the years.
There have been a ton through the years. But and then David, when he come back, rehab assignment, we would talk to. What a great guy. What a class act. I mean, there's some guys in sports that get it, and some, I think, who don't get it. And I think he's someone who has always gotten it. I mean, he's obviously so beloved here, but it's just everything about him. And you can see how people are attracted to him because not only is he a great player, but he just does a lot of the right things, and he really gets it.
No, he's been certainly huge in the community here in all of his years. Pitch in there for strike 2.
When they talk about changing the chemistry of a clubhouse, Dennis, is that overplayed, or do you think that's really important?
Well, when it gets as bad as it was for the Red Sox, it's not overplayed because it was a mess.
0-2 pitch is up and in. Yes, that'll leave it up now at 2-2.
But you can feel it around this ball club, the difference. Not because it was so bad, but because it's so good. There's some good guys that they've got in this clubhouse.
Yeah, Craig Breslow had a chance to spend a few minutes before the game, and that's one of the things he talked about. It's just guys are having fun, love coming into the clubhouse, and that's how it should be, right?
Yes.
Rich Capola, we look forward to our partnership, and we thank you very much for coming up.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks, Dennis. You too.
Eastern Bank, running your own business takes a team effort, and as the #1 SBA lender in New England 3 years in a row, Eastern Bank is a key part of your lineup. See how Eastern Bank puts you first. A beautiful night tonight in Boston as we head into the bottom of the 4th inning. Adrian Beltre with a home run here, the difference in the game. His 100th career game at Fenway Park, and the home run here for him to put the Rangers on top 1-0. As the top of the order for the Red Sox to bat here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Daniel Nava, Mike Karp, and Dustin Pedroia scheduled to bat in the inning. First pitch from Agondo is in there for strike 1. Nava grounded out to shortstop in the 1st inning. One pitch is in there for strike 2. Oh, 2 is in the dirt. 1-2.
Starting to see Agondo go to his secondary pitches. You know, he threw a changeup in this count, and you saw the slider right there.
He's given up only 1 hit through the first 3+ innings. He's walked a batter. And bounce that. 2-2. You get to a point where you have been long enough into this game that you don't go to a pitch or two, that you lose a little bit of that sharpness you might have had in the pen.
Well, not only that, this guy hasn't pitched. He's been in the DL, and you haven't really got a feel for that breaking ball. Normally, you know, your fastball, you should know where that's going. He's trying to throw this slider to put him away.
And he'll strike him out, as that is the second strikeout for Agondo. As we check back in with Jenny Dell.
Well, Don, not the best start tonight, but coming into tonight, Daniel Nava was averaging .615 in the first 3 games in the month of June. And on this season, he leads all AL outfielders in RBI per at that, averaging 1 RBI every 4.63 at bat. So for our AT&T Twitter question of the night, we want to ask the fans at home, your thoughts on the season Daniel Nava is having, and are you surprised? Send us your tweets at the hashtag Nava Delivers, and we'll reveal the best ones later in the game.
All right, Jenny, thanks very much. Nava so far 0 for 2 in tonight's game, as there's one out here in the 4th inning, and Mike Karp is the batter. Karp will take the strikes, even the count at 1-1.
I'll tell you what, Nava's done everything he's ever been asked to do. Talk about a surprise. No doubt. There's no doubt. I mean, he's in territory he hasn't been before. You know, he's played 88 games max. He came into this season hitting, what, 243. I mean, he's hitting 300. He's on a pace to hit 20 home runs and drive in 100.
Well, he is taking advantage of an opportunity he has to play on a regular basis. This is hit well to center. Martin going back at the wall, and that ball is high off the wall. Karp will head into second. He pulls it up around second. And will stay at second base with a double. He's looking up trying to find Brian Butterfield. Did not miss this from going out by very much.
Boy, we have seen the last night and tonight the ball up in the air that has been carrying. Just didn't carry enough to get out of the ballpark. You see a changeup. He leaves up out over the plate. He gets an extension. He's looking at it like it's gone. And you see this ball just misses, maybe a foot from going out of here. The ball gets away from Martin. I thought that Karp could have got 3 out of it. He pulled up at second. I don't know. You got to go 3 here. I know that's safe, but I think he thought he should have went 3. I don't know if he's mad at he didn't hit a home run or he should have went 3.
He stands at second base with one out here in the 4th inning, and Dustin Pedroia the batter. As Pedroia will take ball 1. Flight out to the right fielder Nelson Cruz in the 1st inning, 0 for 1.
You talk about surprises. You talk about Karp. What Karp has done for this club. No one expected that. They didn't think he was going to be playing all that much. I mean, he's shown some pop. A lot of extra base hits. His confidence is sky high too. A lot of guys on this club have got it going on.
Well, the Red Sox starting the ninth 36-23. They have a 2.5 game lead over the Orioles and Yankees. That's in there for strike 1. Well, it has been a true combined effort here for the Red Sox. Different guy every night.
Totally. I mean, you name it. It's not just about Ortiz and Pedroia and the boys. No, it's about this whole club, and that's exactly how you win with everybody.
Pitch up top for ball 3, 3-1.
Haven't seen Victorino, right? It's like, where is he? And they've still been winning. I mean, you're going to add a piece, which is beautiful. Jackie Bradley comes up here and does his thing. Everything is sort of just clicking. Iglesias is playing unbelievably at third base. You got Millbrooks down there waiting in the wings too, and you wonder what that situation is about.
Well, John Farrell talking about that situation today before the game, as Pedroia will pop it up down the right field line. Cruz coming from right. It's going to fall foul. And between 3 Texas Rangers, you got Moreland, Profar, and Cruz all in the neighborhood. Nobody can get there, but fortunately for the Rangers, it harmlessly lands in foul ground.
Well, that looked like an out going into the air right there. You see, Cruz is not even in the picture yet. The only guy who has a play at that is Moreland. And he's just not quick enough. Tough play anyway.
Well, John Farrell saying before the game today that for Will Middlebrooks, he has to perform well with the Pawtucket Red Sox at the plate. And they hope that he'll be back soon, but they want to see him hit.
That's what it sounded like to me. I was just thinking, get your rehab done and he'll be back here like Victorino, but it didn't sound like that.
It was a different sound because they were asked John was asked about Shane Victorino. He said 3, maybe 4 games.
Right.
Which was a much different answer. Down to first base goes Pedroia on a walk here from Ogando. This will bring out Mike Maddox, who was out there a lot last night.
Well, you know, 52 pitches. You know, they're coming off the DL. 52 pitches. How far is he going to go? And yes, he did. He put his hand on his shoulder. I was waiting for that to happen.
It was brief, though.
It was brief. It was.
Well, MLB.TV celebrates 11 years with new low yearly prices. Watch out-of-market games live on over 350 supported mobile and connected devices in HD quality with MLB.TV Premium. Visit MLB.TV today. MLB.TV, baseball everywhere. David Krejci has put the Bruins on top 1-0. Minute 14 into that contest tonight at the Garden. Two on, one away for David Ortiz. Ortiz flied out to center field in the second inning. He is 0 for 1. Red Sox trying to answer the Rangers, who get a run in the top half of the inning. And a pitch up high for ball 1.
See the velocity go back up. You get in a situation, a tight situation, and you go a little more pumped up, a little more amped up. I don't know how he's going to get him out. We talked about it last night. That kid had a hard time.
This will bounce in. Krasinski does a great job to block that. And he kicked it up the third base line. Ogando runs over to pick it up.
You see this breaking ball, not even close. I was going to say David's got such a great eye. Well, you don't need a great eye for that. You need a good catcher to knock this down. Keep the runners right where they are at first and second. But 2-0 count to David. He's got to go get him right now if he wants him.
And that's in there for a strike. Over the inside corner.
Didn't really have to be.
Earlier this year, facing the Red Sox roughly a month ago in Arlington.
See this high slider. It's not the prettiest thing. I guess it caught the corner.
That last effort for Ogando, he went 6 innings, giving up only 1 run to the Red Sox. He threw 101 pitches in that outing in Arlington. The Red Sox have had their fair share of troubles taking on Texas in Arlington.
Well, Ogando's going to have to make a pitch here. I don't think he wants to challenge him with his cheese. I just don't think.
He's fouling it straight back. 2-2.
Yeah, he went to the changeup. That's his third best pitch. He left that ball up right there. This is a changeup. You see the 3-finger grip. That ball's up. He's lucky he didn't drive that ball off the left field wall. He's trying to leave right there is what he's trying to do. He wasn't trying to hit the ball the other way.
Napoli waiting on deck. 1 out here in the bottom of the 4th inning. .96 that time, but he missed for ball 3.
Boy, he's pumped up out there. That's his best gas. Meanwhile, what's he going to do now?
Carp at second, Pedroia at first. 1 out here in the 4th inning. Here's a 3-2. And Ortiz strikes out. He sticks with the fastball at 96. And strikes out Big Papi. 3rd K for Ogando. 2 down.
Now this fastball had some movement on it. 96. This ball cuts a little bit. Ball down. It was a ball all the way, but Big Papi was geared up for some cheese. That ball cut. 96 going down.
So 2 down in the inning, 2 on, and Mike Napoli is the batter. Napoli walked in the 2nd inning, 1 of 2 free passes given up by Alexi Ogando tonight. In the dirt, Krasinski can't find it. It's behind him, and the runners will move along. Right, Carp will take 3rd. Pedroia takes 2nd. Brzezinski had stopped the one before, but can't stop this fastball.
Brzezinski, I guess you don't, think a fastball is going to be in the dirt, but he backhands this ball. Didn't get a real good look at this, whether it's a wild pitch or not. Ball is in the dirt. It's a wild pitch. Yes, it is, but he backhands it. You just don't expect a fastball to be in the dirt, because he never would have backhanded. You think it's a breaker ball, you're going to block it. But he's throwing that fastball. It's hot down there.
It is a wild pitch. It gets Carp to third. Pedroia to second with 2 down. In there for a strike to Napoli. Took a little off that time.
He's loose. He's a lot looser than he was in the first inning.
Ball 2, 2-1. On deck, Jared Saltalamacchia batting out of the 6th spot for the Red Sox. That's on the corner. Napoli didn't like it, but it is 2-2. And Rob Drake takes the mask off.
I don't know about this Drake guy. I mean, that ball's outside. Napoli knows the strike zone, and you see Regundo's just firing this thing, man. He's just humping up this whole inning, and that's a gift. I'll throw one out there again.
Napoli fouls it off. 96 again.
He's bringing it. I mean, these are stress throws. This is when, game's on the line. All of a sudden, he's humping, man. And it may be middle, but it's got some hump to it.
Kilvidian, delivering innovative healthcare products across the globe, is a proud sponsor of the Red Sox Foundation. Second and third, 2 down. And that pitch is up and in.
I'm telling you, man, he's just airing it out.
And behind the mound in the midst of a meeting with himself.
You wouldn't think he'd throw him a breaking ball here. You think to just gas him, right? Pump. Try to throw it away.
And he fouls it back. Hanging tough is Napoli.
Boy, Napoli gets way into every at bat. 3-2 every time.
Now, all these fastballs, you expect something with a wrinkle in it here eventually?
He doesn't know where that wrinkle's going.
3-2 pitch. There's a wrinkle, and he strikes him out with it. Strikes out the side, leaves runners at second and third. It's 1-0 Texas.
This summer, Counting Crows and the Wallflowers share the stage at Foxwoods Resort Casino's MGM Grand Theater, Friday, June 21st. For tickets, visit foxwoods.com. Foxwoods Resort Casino is the official partner of the Boston Red Sox.
Back at Fenway Park as we head into the top half of the 5th inning. Red Sox with an opportunity to score but could not as Alexia Gondo gets out of the jam. Red Sox stranded pair in scoring position. Ends up striking out the side, and for the Rangers it'll be 7, 8, and 9 expected in the inning against John Lackey. So it's 75 pitches in the first 4 innings tonight. Mitch Moreland takes a look at strike one.
The 76 pitches as we stand seems like a lot.
Yes.
It's because of this guy that's at the plate right now. Cost him 10 pitches. Not to belabor that strike that he should have had.
Still fresh in your mind.
Yes, isn't it? Paint.
More pitches over the outside corner. Moreland, Profar, and Martin scheduled to bat in the inning as this one's sent foul by Moreland, who's got one of the 3 hits in the game the Rangers have, and it was his double in the 3rd inning. Look at Lackey's numbers so far, 78 pitches deep into the outing. The only run, the home run by Adrian Beltre to straightaway center field.
Wants to go back in there, back to back. Boom.
And it's a ground ball right side. Pedroia to his right. And he throws out Moreland. Much quicker at bat this time. First out of the 5th inning. So Moreland retired, and Jurickson Profar coming up here for the Rangers.
Boy, Lackey looks good tonight. He just looks good, man. Moving his fastball around.
And on the grass at 3rd is Iglesias as Profar stands in. Lackey getting the corner. Profar didn't think so.
Well, he had to reach back to get it. It probably was a strike, just didn't look like it.
No one pitch, he'll miss inside. 1-1. John Lackey in his career, a record of 12-15 against Texas. With a 6.14 earned run average. Of course, had plenty of chances to face the Rangers as a member of the Angels. There's a little bloop into right, and it'll land fair. Nava will pick it up, but it is a base hit for Profar. The guy that ended up having the best opportunity was Pedroia, headed out there, but Profar's got a base hit.
Can't do much about this. He throws a cutter on his hands, and he just sort of fights this ball off. I was hoping that Pedroia could dive for this thing, but out of his reach, or he would have dove a little too far away.
One down here in the 5th inning. Profar at first base, and Leonis Martin the batter. Check on Profar, who's back to the bag.
You think this kid would be a superstar? He must have some wheels too, right? He's attempted two stolen bags. He's been thrown out twice.
Called the ball.
Man. A lot of borderline pitches tonight. It's just we're getting picky.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
That's called a strike, and it's 1-1. Almost the same plane.
I wouldn't want to count on it. You know, you don't want to count on it because it may not be there.
Swing and a miss, and it's 1-2.
There's that good curveball. We haven't seen a lot of those tonight. You finish off a lot of good hitters with this curveball. It's got some bite to it, some depth.
Martin grounded back to the mound in what was a big out in the third inning. And it kept Mitch Moreland at third base in the inning, and at the time kept the Rangers off the board. Now he bats with a runner at first and one out, and gets jammed here and fouls it off to the left out of play.
Well, he beat him with that fastball in. Martin's got that curveball in his brain. There it is. Hook him.
Yeah, he did. Struck him out with it. And it's the 5th strikeout for John Lackey. 2 down here in the inning.
I'll tell you what, we've seen a nice night from John Lackey tonight. 5 strikeouts. Early on, he gets Murphy with a fastball paint away. And you see a high fastball, Nelson Cruz swinging and missing. And then he's going to paint a little outside of Bergman. Meanwhile, paint. Another fastball to Brzezinski, and you see that he finished off with Martin with a hook, a nasty hook.
So 2 down, Profar at first base, and Elvis Andrus is the batter. He'll drive one to right field down the line. Nava towards the warning track, goes into the slide and can't catch it, but it is a foul ball down that right field line.
You wonder if you'd have had a chance at this ball if there's no wall right there. He ran out of room. The ball didn't stay up in the air long enough either, but you don't want to kill yourself trying to get to this ball, but more foul territory. He might have ran right through and made a catch. Who knows?
Up high, bluff to first as Profar darting back to the bag. And throw from Saltalamacchia.
You'd think he'd attempt to steal here. I mean, it's the perfect time to go. You get thrown out, who cares?
With 53 stolen bases in 4 minor league seasons. And this is through the vacated right side into right field for a base hit. Profar to second base on a single to right for Elvis Andrus, and that's the second hit of the inning now for the Rangers.
See Andrus hitting the ball. Look at the hole between first and second. He gets another fastball. He's thrown a lot of fastballs up to Andrus. He finally hits the ball the other way. Fouling off a ton of high fastballs. Finally hits it the other way.
So first and second, 2 down, and a chance here for David Murphy. Murphy 0 for 2 in the game. He struck out looking in the first inning, flied out to center field in the 4th inning. The key matchup tonight is brought to you by Acura. David Murphy in his career against Lackey, 7 for 18, even with the 0 for 2 tonight. And 389. A couple doubles, a triple. Lackey coming into this outing tonight 3-5. He's had a decision in every start this season. Marks his 9th start of the year. And trails in this one 1-0 as the Rangers threaten here in the 5th. Falls behind 3-0.
Being a little careful here. You got Bergman on deck. The pitch count creeping up. He's worked hard to get to this point.
That's in there for a strike. He was taken all the way, and it is now 3-1. Profar at second base. Andrus at first base with 2 down here in the 5th.
Big pitch right here.
And it is lifted foul down the left field line, out of play.
Made a good pitch, 3-1 right on the corner. Now you got a chance to put him away.
Lucky 95 pitches deep into his outing right now. Threw 98 pitches in 6 innings last time out, and most he's thrown in any game this season is 109.
You're going to bury a curveball, or are you going to try to paint him with a fastball? Flip a coin.
On the ground right side. Went with the fastball. Pedroia corrals it and throws out Murphy to end the inning. The Rangers strand a pair. We're halfway through with Texas on top 1-0. Card and pay right from your phone. You can also receive exclusive mobile offers and send Dunkin' gift cards. Message and data rates may apply. For full terms of use, visit www.dunkindonuts.com/mobile terms. Now the Red Sox and Rangers play into the bottom of the 5th inning back at Fenway Park. It's 1-0. Rangers on top. Difference in this game is a solo home run by Adrian Beltre. Jared Saltalamacchia leading it off, and he takes strike 1 over the inside corner, and the misfortune of bouncing into a 4-6-3 double play back in the 2nd inning. Going to be 6, 7, and 8 featured here in the inning for the Red Sox. Saltalamacchia, Drew, then Iglesias.
Wonder if Ogando emptied his tank coming off the DL in the last inning. He was just airing it out.
This is out towards left center field. Martin moves back towards the track and onto it to make the catch for the first out of the bottom of the 5th inning. Let's check back in with Jenny Dell.
Well, Don Red Sox pitcher Clay Buchholz and his wife Lindsay Buchholz launched the Clay Buchholz Foundation today, and their main focus is going to be providing funds and resources to children facing cancer and other illnesses. Some of the beneficiaries include Christopher's Haven, which provides living space for children and their families while they go through cancer treatments, and Pitching In for Kids, which provides grants designed to improve the lives of children. You see them with some of the kids today. The foundation's inaugural fundraiser will take place on Thursday, July 18th. It will be the first annual Buchholz Bowl presented by Lucky Strike Lanes and Jillian's. And for more info on this foundation, visit their website at claybuchholzfoundation.org and on Twitter, Clay Buchholz FDN.
All right, Jane, thanks very much. Good luck to Clay and Lindsay. Do a great job in the community, have for a number of years that Clay has been here, and they're looking forward to doing more. One out here in the 5th inning, Stephen Drew with a count of 1-1. And a pitch in there for a strike 2. Drew hit the ball very hard in the 3rd inning, but was thrown out trying to stretch it into a double, at least according to second base umpire Sam Holbrook. This is laced down the right field line foul. He's out ahead. Well, here's a play at second base where he appeared to be safe, but Sam Holbrook called him out.
This is a good idea, like I said, trying to push the envelope, and he is safe because the tag does not catch him before his right hand hits the bag, and he holds on.
Didn't go, says Andy Fletcher, third base umpire.
Such a big play, 1-0 game. Leadoff double it would have been.
Pitch 75 for Agondo, and that is in there for strike 3. So it is the 5th strikeout for Agondo. There's 2 quick outs here in the 5th inning.
The pitch zone on Nesson is brought to you by Amica. Amica Insurance. Great service, great coverage, and a great price for auto, home, or life insurance. And you see he follows up a fastball in. He fouled off and paints him with a fastball away. Good pitch by Agondo.
And 2 down here in the 5th for Jose Iglesias. Zips out outside for ball 1. Iglesias flied out to center field in the 3rd inning, 0 for 1 tonight. Two and 0. Red Sox have been held to 2 hits. The single by Drew in the 3rd inning, a double by Mike Karp off the top of the wall in center field. In the dirt for ball 3, 3-0. Jackie Bradley Jr. waiting on deck, but there are 2 outs here in the 5th inning. Ball 4, down to first base goes Iglesias. So the 3rd walk given up by Agondo. We'll get set for every Red Sox game on Nesson with Red Sox Game Day Live presented by DCU. Nesson's pregame coverage of the Sox begins an hour before every game. DCU, Digital Federal Credit Union, banking the DCU way. 2 down here in the 5th inning. Iglesias at first base, and here's Jackie Bradley Jr. Lined out to the left fielder David Murphy in the 3rd inning. For the first, and Iglesias back to the bag.
You see Agondo kind of lose focus right there. You get 2 outs, nobody on. You walk Iglesias on 4 pitches.
This will be his 80th pitch of his outing. First outing back off the DL. And a check swing foul. Your Eastern Mass Lexus dealers bring you the pitching line for Alexi Agondo. 4 2/3, 2 hits, no runs. He has walked 3, including Iglesias. There were 2 down in the inning, 5 strikeouts. 4 of them coming in the last inning in 2/3. Ended up striking out the side in the 4th inning. In there for strike 2. Neil Cott's up in the pen for the Rangers. And a check as he slings it over there to first base, and Iglesias back to the bag.
You're going to see the Rangers empty their bullpen tonight to try to win this game. Agundo at 81 pitches. They're going to watch him close from here on out.
They did option out Joe Ortiz to make room for Agundo tonight, one of the relievers we saw in last night's game. After the starter lasted just an inning and 2/3.
He gave up 3 home runs.
Yes, he did. One in every inning that he worked.
What a way to leave, huh?
Yep.
Go back to the minor leagues after that.
Over the inside corner for strike 3. That's the 6th strikeout for Agundo. We're headed to the 6th inning with the Rangers on top by 1. Contractors rely on FWWeb for expertise, selection, and solutions. Visit FWWeb.com for more about the proud sponsor of the Boston Red Sox. 6th inning back at Fenway Park with the Rangers on top 1-0. A tight one here tonight. Well pitched by Alexi Agundo and John Lackey here into the 6th. And Lackey at 96 pitches starts the 6th inning, and Lance Berkman leads it off for the Rangers. Takes a curveball for strike 1. Berkman 0 for 2 is grounded out to third base and struck out looking. This will be popped up left side into shallow left as Karp is coming in, and he'll make the catch for the first out of the 6th inning.
Well, here's the difference in the game. The 4th inning, a high slider to Beltre, and he smokes this ball to dead center field. No chance for Bradley Jr. Solo home run. Only mistake of the night for Lackey.
One down here in the 6th inning, and here is Adrian Beltre.
You think he really gets upset when they touch his head?
Yes.
Or is that just a...
No.
I mean,
I think it's real.
Really?
Yes. You know, when he was with us for a while, we thought he was joking around for the most part. But then, you know, guys do it all the time because they know it upsets him. Victor Martinez was the guy who did it the most for the Red Sox at the time. Now, Andrus goes right after the helmet to get it off. Everything's okay now. It's kind of fun. But later on here, somebody else, after the fun and games are over, they're going to touch him. Ooh, he does not like that. Look at that face.
What's he going to do? Drop somebody?
I don't know.
I mean, come on.
But that's a different face, isn't it? The second one?
I'd be afraid of that face.
Adrian does not like to have his head touched. And so they do it all the time because they know it bothers them.
Right.
Yes. If it didn't bother them, then,
it's like
they wouldn't do it.
It brings the team together.
Yes. Touch Adrian's head.
Right. Touch it about 35 times,
Yes.
you're good to go.
And it is not like his moss touched. 2-0 pitch is driven to center field. Jackie Bradley Jr. is back, and this ball will be caught on the track this time. Beltre giving it a ride, this time retired for the second out of the 6th inning. Well, welcome those of you who have clicked over from the Bruins-Penguins game here at Fenway Park. The Red Sox trail the Rangers 1-0. There's the Red Sox hosting Texas here, and when the Bruins game is finished, you can find Bruins post-game coverage on NESN Plus. Here are your channel destinations for NESN Plus. Best of luck to the Bruins tonight in Game 3. Fouled off Saltalamacchia by Nelson Cruz with 2 outs in the inning. Craig Breslow warming in the Red Sox pen.
He's thrown so well tonight, Lackey, but the pitch count, 102. The 6th inning, you'd love to have him go out there for another inning. Just kind of reward him for pitching so well tonight. Oh,
look out. And Cruz is hit with a pitch. Fastball that time gets Cruz, and he is hit here with 2 outs and nobody on.
Where did this come from? Out of nowhere, not even close. This ball is launched. Here you are, a control pitcher. If I ever did that, they'd be looking at me funny. Like, I can't do that. Because anybody can do that. That's not on purpose. Not a 1-0 game, but every time you're a good control pitcher, every time you drill somebody, it's like, what are you doing?
Right.
No, I mean, only human. The ball comes out of your hand funny sometimes.
So 2 down, Cruz at first base, and here's A.J. Pierzynski. Pierzynski's 0 for 2. He grounded out to first in the 2nd. He struck out looking in the 4th inning. And I think he went after that. They'll check. He did. This is Andy Fletcher.
Good cutter down and in. This ball's 90 mile an hour. He couldn't stop the head from going through. He likes to swing the bat, AJ. He doesn't walk.
Runner takes off. Pierzynski with a swing and a miss. Or did he get a piece?
Like a foul tip.
He did not get a piece. 0-2. I thought he did.
They must know. Looked pretty close to me. It's hard to tell.
So Cruz takes second base. Able to steal it with 2 down in the inning.
Don't throw a strike here. Just make him fish or something.
Down and in, 1-2.
Starting to get a little tired. He sort of yanked that ball. Velocity's okay.
Well, again, the high is 109 this year for Lackey. He's at 106 right now.
You just don't want to push Lackey. You want to be careful with him.
The 109 was the start before his last start. It was against Cleveland in a 7-inning 1-run effort. Ground ball foul.
This is when you reach back. You get over 100 pitches. You get in a, there's a run at second base. You don't want to give this up. You're reaching back a little bit more. These are the throws that hurt the next day. In between starts, you're not quite right.
One-two is going to be a one-hopper to Pedroia at second base, and that'll end the inning as Lackey gets through 6 tonight. 5.5 done. Rangers have a 1-0 lead. donate $1,000 to the Jimmy Fund Radio Telethon for every game saved this season. For quality, choice, and value, nobody beats Bob. Visit mybobs.com to learn more. Some limbering up going on out in the bullpen for the Red Sox. Andrew Bailey at the moment as we head to the bottom of the 6th inning. And the Red Sox dealing with a 1-run deficit as Alexi Agondo is back on the mound again for Texas into the 6th inning. He's thrown 83 pitches in his first game back after coming off the DL. Activated before the game tonight. Daniel Nava to right field, sending Cruz back. He will get there to make the catch for the first out of the 6th inning. And Nava has gone 0 for 3 in the game tonight.
Well, that helps Agundo right there. 1 pitch out in the 6th inning when he's got deep into a pitch count.
They do still have action in the pen as Kotz has been up for the last couple of innings from time to time.
Well, if it ever gets to Ortiz, he won't be in the game. Agundo, it'll go to Kotz.
Pitch in there for strike 1 to Mike Karp. Karp, who was ejected from last night's game.
Karp, who missed a home run by about a foot.
He's got one of only 2 Red Sox hits in the game tonight against Agondo. They have to be happy with what they have gotten from him tonight in his return.
Oh, absolutely. Punching out the side. The big at bat was Ortiz. He was behind the count, what, 3-1. Ends up punching him out on a ball down.
This is well hit, but right at Martin in center field for the 2nd out of the inning. So right in the button, but that's out number 2.
That's pretty much all they really wanted out of him. They're lucky to get 6 innings coming off the DL. He looked good.
Well, for every Red Sox game that goes into extra innings or one where the Sox get a save, CVS Pharmacy will make a donation to Boston Children's Hospital. CVS is aiming for a goal of $25,000 in donations this season. Ball 1 into Dustin Pedroia with 2 outs here in the 6th inning. Pedroia flied out to right field in the 1st inning, then walked in the 4th inning. And last night the Red Sox were able to get to Justin Grimm. You had to know it was going to be a little tougher tonight. Rangers pitching has been so good this season. Texas number 1 in earned run average coming into tonight's action, 3.58 their ERA as a team.
He loses Pedroia. There's no way he's going to let him have Ortiz. Had 2 outs last inning. Nobody on. Walks Iglesias on 4 pitches. He's about to do the same thing to Pedroia.
That's a strike call, and that appeared to be well out of the strike zone.
Totally. It's ball 3-0 pitch. I mean, this is what happens a lot. Umpires give you that 3-0 pitch. You end up making an out. It ends up being a big pitch.
It's one high in the air to left field. David Murphy heading back towards the wall. That ball is up, and it is going to be gone. Home run for Dustin Pedroia off the light stanchion in left field. La Luna, and the game is tied 1-1. It's one of those Fenway home runs. You're not sure if it's going to scrape the wall or whether it's going to get out. It gets out.
Well, instead of being a walk and taking his base on a 3-0 pitch that was outside, he gets another pitch, a 3-1 fastball, and he just hits a high fly ball to left field. Just kept going. You see him, he's been hitting the ball the other way so much. He really didn't get that. That ball went up so high, but it makes it out of the ballpark fairly easy. It's coming down fast. Hits the light tower. It was running out of gas, but just enough to get out of here.
Agondo can't believe it is gone, but it is, and this game is tied 1-1. That is his night. After 5 2/3, this is all tied up in 1 from Fenway. 1-1. The Rangers have switched pitchers as Alexia Gondo leaves the game after 5 2/3 innings. Just gave up his first run on only his third hit. And now David Ortiz stands in with 2 outs and the base is empty here in the bottom of the 6th inning. And Ortiz takes ball 1 outside. Well, the Red Sox have now hit 67 home runs this season, and with it, Hess Express donate another $500 to the pediatric trauma program at Boston Children's Hospital. Brings the season total to $33,500. Hess Express committed to helping the cause.
Gundo thought he was going to just skate out of here. 6 innings, nice appearance, get a little W. Meanwhile, 3-1 pitch, ball 4 really could have been the pitch before. Called it a strike. Right. He got another pitch and he throws a fastball out of the zone. Pedroia takes a shot at it like he does every so often. He tries to just get on top of a high fastball. It looks like a high fly ball to me. No one was sure it was out until it hit the light tower.
Well, those are tough to judge because they always look like they're going to have a chance to come down to scrape the wall on the way down.
It was coming down quick.
And Murphy was backed up there trying to play the ricochet, but there would be no ricochet. Hit off the light tower. The stanchion. As that's ball 4, and that's not what Ron Washington wanted from the left-hander Neil Potts, who checks into the game.
You're talking about Victoria hitting it off the light tower. Doesn't it sound like it was a bomb?
Yes,
doesn't it?
It just has that sound.
Right, he hit it off the light tower at the bottom of the light tower on the way down.
Not up by the lights like the natural, where it blows out the lights.
You're like light tower power?
Yes, no, low light tower power.
Bottom tower power.
So 2 down in the inning, and Mike Napoli is the batter. If you're wondering about the La Luna thing I yelled out, did you hear that?
Yes.
That's his request from 2 years ago. He decided that I needed a home run call. So while I didn't really come up with a home run call, I don't have one that's standard.
Yeah.
He said, at least give me one. So I said, whatever. And
how did you call that ball? He wrapped around the pesky pole.
Because it barely went out, I didn't give him the La Luna.
How can
he had another one, the Josh Willingham off his glove in Minnesota that went over the fence. I couldn't give him La Luna for that.
So you really made up for it.
0 for 3 on the La Lunas. And I decided here that he deserves a La Luna.
And the ball was up there in the air so long, you had all the time in the world to do it.
I had time to think.
Yeah, you did.
So there you go, Dustin. There's your La Luna.
Yeah, he got it. That's 4.
Yes, and it's the first time I've used it all season.
1 for 4.
Right, because he thinks every home run he hits goes to the moon. That's his whole thought process.
That ball was to the moon, though. It was high.
Yeah. So 2 down in the inning. Ortiz at first base. And Mike Napoli has walked and struck out in the game. Ahead here 2-0. And a swing and a miss. All geared up there 2-0.
Boy, Kotz, this kid has turned his whole career around. He's in the big leagues a long time, I think, with the White Sox. And then he just sort of disappeared for a while. And boy, I tell you what, he's come back. Gangbusters, punching guys out. He just found it again. The left-handers just say, well, they hang around a long time. Well, he did, and he left, and he came back, and he found a home.
And Kotz broke into the big leagues with the White Sox in 2003. He was injured, did not pitch in 2010, 2011. And last year pitched to AAA in 25 games.
Once again, 3-2 count to Napoli just to stay in shape.
Every time.
Every time.
Napoli will foul it back out of play. Hanging out where the sunflower seeds are.
The bird is boiling.
I didn't know birds could boil too.
Yes, they can. They eat too many seeds and they'll boil.
3-2 is inside, ball 4. And Napoli is down to first base. Back-to-back walks by Kotz. And that'll bring Mike Maddox out.
You don't expect to bring your left-hander in. A guy's been throwing the ball good, coming out and walk 2 batters. Luckily, there's 2 outs, or they'd be in trouble.
We'll stay with Nesson after the game for WB Mason Extra Innings Live. Tim Wakefield will break down all the action, and Jenny will take us inside the clubhouse for reaction from the players. WB Mason Extra Innings Live. You can't go wrong when you buy right. WB Mason.
Got the hand on the shoulder, and he's ready to go.
So 2 on and 2 down. And Jared Saltalamacchia coming up. He is 0 for 2 tonight. Grounding into a double play in the second. He flied out to center in the 5th. Chance here now for the Red Sox to take the lead here in the bottom of the 6th inning as they have tied it up here in the inning. And a check swing foul.
Hit his first home run right-handed last night into the seats. I'd like to do that again right here.
Ortiz at second, Napoli at first with 2 outs in the inning. Saltalamacchia grounds it foul. This game summary is brought to you by Xfinity from Comcast. Gondo and Lackey matched up in what was a very good pitchers duel here tonight. Game tied 1-1 now. As Lackey went 6 innings. Pedroia 1 for 2 with a home run that ties the score. Red Sox have been held only 3 hits, the home run, and only run for the Rangers. A solo shot by Adrian Beltre in the top of the 4th inning. Saltalamacchia strikes out to end the 6th inning, but Pedroia's home run has tied this game 1 aside. This one high in the air to left field. David Murphy heading back towards the wall. That ball is up, and it is going to be gone. Home run for Dustin Pedroia off the light stanchion in left field. La Luna has tied this game 1-1. Dustin Pedroia getting it done in the bottom of the 6th inning off Alexia Gondo.
You'll be proud of you for that.
Yes. Get off my back.
Finally, right? If you hit one to the moon, and no doubter we could get into it.
Yes.
That ball was up there for a long time. You weren't really sure, but you had time to think.
His quote was, get somebody out of their seat. Get excited. So I was out.
It's got to be a walk-off piece to get out of your seat.
is called the bullpen, brought to you on Nesson by New England Ford dealers. And it's Craig Breslow into the game here for the top of the 7th inning. 14th appearance, 2-0 with a 1.29 earned run average. 8 strikeouts, 4 walks. Opponents hitting at 188 against the lefty. And Mitch Moreland, the first batter that he will face. Well, you got to like what you saw tonight from John Lackey.
Oh, I mean, I've been excited about Lackey all year long. And tonight, I think that was probably the best he's thrown. I mean, one mistake to Beltre, which anybody can make to him. But, you know, in control of his fastball, in control of his emotions, you think about it, back to that strike 3 he could have had. Didn't end up costing him, but good velocity. You saw the hook when he needed it. I mean, moving the ball around. That's John Lackey. That's that they paid the big iron for. They're finally getting it.
This one is ripped by the dive of Napoli down the right field line. And it's going to head back towards the corner. Moreland will head to second base, and he is hobbling. I'm not sure if he hurt himself, but he was not running very well at all between first and second. And Ron Washington's going to come out and check on him here as kind of looked up figuring that he would be headed towards third base with that ball down in the corner, and he was somewhere between first and second and hobbling.
Red Sox get a break on this. This is a triple all the way. It's a bullet down the line past Napoli, and it just stays. It doesn't kick off the boards down there and just, you know, hugs the wall. And this is a triple for anybody. And then you see Moreland had to pull up. You saw him coming around first. These hammies or whatever they pull, you just never know. But he's got to get 3. I don't know where he lost it, but about right there he starts limping. Nobody out.
Well, he's coming out of this game. So a double for Moreland to begin the inning.
Everybody's had their share of injuries. You know, every team. You know, you can't squawk. Because the guy Moreland's had a nice year for them up to this point with 12 home runs. It's a bad break.
Well, Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center, the official hospital of the Boston Red Sox, invites you to join the walking club. Sign up today and get a cool wristband plus everything you need to start a walking program for better health. This one is bunted off Saltalamacchia that time.
Looked like a great bunt. Meanwhile, he didn't. It came off of his shin or something. You see, he squares around a bunt here, and he doesn't even make contact. It goes off his kneecap. That can't feel good at all.
Erickson Profar batting here, down in the count 0-1. And he gets a bunt down this time. It'll be Breslow who jumps after it and fires to first for the out. Remaining at second base was Baker.
Baker must have not got a jump. I mean, everybody knows he's bunting right here.
What is going on?
It's like, what are you supposed to do? Ron Washington looks upset. You see a secondary lead, and he just says he decides not to go. And you wonder if to have it back, would there have been a play at third? You saw Iglesias backpedaling to get to third. I don't know if that was such a bad idea after all for Baker. He might have got thrown out if somebody told him to throw to third. Ron Washington thinks he should be at third.
Trying to figure out how he isn't at third base. Conference coming up here at the mound as Gentry is going to pinch hit for Martin. And trying to figure out why he is not or did not attempt to go to third base.
But if you see this play again, bunted right back to the pitcher, not hard.
Yes.
He deadened it.
See Ron Washington yelling over at Gary Pettis, go talk to him.
Yeah, go talk to him. Where are you?
Why is he not at third base?
Well, he should get a better jump is what he should have got. He's going to see this ball bunted right back to him. He deadens it a little bit. The pitcher, you know, see, Iglesias is at third. There could have been a play at third.
Yeah.
But you're just expecting him to be at third.
So Craig Gentry batting here for Leonis Martin. Gentry came into last night's game defensively late in the game. Now a swing and a miss. Or strike one. Gentry at .232 in the year with a home run and 8 runs batted in. Red Sox have further action in the pen. The former Texas Ranger Koji Uehara warming up in the pen for Boston now.
think you're sitting on the bench, right? You Baker, he's sitting on the bench, and Moreland pulls a hammy or whatever. Next thing you know, you're on second base. You don't get the third on a bunt, and the manager's livid with you, right?
He was minding your own business like 10 minutes ago.
The next thing you know, boom, you're at second base, and hello, they're going to bunt. I got to get the third. I got to get my secondary lead. Next thing you know, no, don't go. And the manager's hating you right now.
Just gave up an out to get you to third base.
But on second look, I don't know if he would have made it.
But I agree with you on the secondary lead thing. He was very close to second base.
You got to get off. You got to go.
No 2. Did he go? They'll check. No, he did not. Says Joe West.
That's close there. What do you think?
I think he went.
I think he went. And Gentry, he had a good year for them last year. Part-time, hit over 300. Got some wheels.
Time called late. Breslow is about to deal. It's up high, not close, and it's 2-2 down to Gentry.
Want to put him away with that breaking ball that he almost swung at the last pitch. After that high fastball, he might go fish for it.
In the dirt, full count. Mitch Moreland starting the inning with a double into right field. Had to leave the game with an apparent leg injury. So Jeff Baker runs for him at second base. Ferguson Profar with what appeared to be a sacrifice bunt, but he could not get Baker over. Baker did not go to third base. He remains at second with one out. Now a 3-2 pitch to Gentry, the pinch hitter. And he will take the walk with one out in the inning. It's time now for a Toyota game break. Here's Tom Caron. All right, Tom, thanks very much. As John Farrell is headed back to the mound to make a change here, Koji Uehara will be coming in with the game tied 1-1 and the Rangers threatening in the 7th. bar to satisfy your sweet tooth or a healthy snack to keep you in playing shape. W.B. Mason's new expanded selection of food and beverages has all the bases covered. Who but W.B. Mason? Well, it is the 7th inning. The Rangers have runners at first and second with 1 out. And the Red Sox move on to their second pitcher of the inning. Craig Breslow started the inning, but it is now Koji Uehara who comes in here to face Elvis Andrus. Uehara, his 24th appearance, 0-0 with a 2.05 earned run average, about 31 strikeouts to 4 walks, and opponents hitting at just 198. This is driven out towards deep left center field, and this will get down onto the track from second base. Baker will score. Gentry, who can fly, will score all the way from first base, and the Rangers take a 3-1 lead. Elvis Andrus drives in 2 on the first pitch that he sees from Koji Uehara.
Man, you didn't have any time to even settle in. You know that Uehara tries to throw strikes. He's going to be around the plate, and you know Andrus played with him. He knows that. He's going to jump on the first fastball because you don't want to go to that split finger. He throws him fastball middle, and he takes a nice swing in the gap. You know, as soon as he hit this ball is going to go to the wall, and you know that Gentry's on first. He can fly. He's going to score. 3-1 Texas. Big hit by Andrus.
Now it's strike 1 to David Murphy. So those runs are charged to Craig Breslow, who went a third of an inning. And coming into tonight, Uehara had allowed just 2 of 10 inherited runners to score.
He really has had the magic this year. All the emotion that he takes to the mound and into the dugout. You know, it bites you sometimes. You know, pitchers, relievers come in, throw strikes. First pitch strike, boom, double.
As you mentioned it, former teammates here in Elvis Andrus and Uehara, as this one is fouled off. 0-2. It's Peace. Saltalamacchia able to make the grab. 0-2. Murphy tonight 0 for 3. Struck out, flied out, and grounded out. Pop up into left field. Carp coming in. And he'll make the catch for the second out of the inning.
You know, you look back to that check swing by Gentry that would have ended the inning. That breaking ball down and in. You're not supposed to do that, but you can't help
it. Instead, he ends up walking. And he saw his speed, scoring all the way from